Hello, and welcome to Miss Hope's Reading Hour. So good to be with you on this fabulous Friday. It is Friday. It is the end of our week of virtual learning and work for some people. So it's the end of virtual learning for my students, but not for me. I have homework this weekend. And probably every other day next week, because my semester is almost over, okay? But I have homework to do once I'm done with all of you, my friends. Well, welcome to Miss Hope's Reading Hour. If this is your first time here, I am Miss Hope, and this is Miss Hope's Reading Hour. So glad that you can be here on our Fabulous FRI-YAY. So we had a half day today here in Philadelphia for our schools. I don't know about your school. Maybe you had school all day today, but hopefully it was a good day because most schools have like Fun Friday. So they try to do something fun on Fridays since it is the doorway to the weekend. Okay? Well, we are here and we are continuing with our silly stories from Wednesday because they were so good. We were like, we got to finish this book because the stories were so good and so funny and so silly. So we are going to continue with the rest of the silly stories from our book from Wonderful Wednesday. Hopefully you found something to be really thankful for on Thursday and every day. And we are now here for our Fabulous FRI-YAY and having our fun, silly books today, along with continuing to walk with Miss Millie. And in our last chapter in Walking with Miss Millie, we found out something very surprising. We will talk about that once we get to our chapter book, Walking with Miss Millie. Before we get too far into Miss Hope's Reading Hour, just to let you know, this great silly music that we're listening to and these silly books and our chapter book that we are reading today, Miss Hope does not own the rights to any of these things. They have been made and written by wonderful people, and they are here for our listening and reading enjoyment. But Miss Hope and Miss Hope's Reading Hour do not own the rights to any of these wonderful things we will experience today on our broadcast. Gotta let you guys know that from the beginning. So, also, if you would like to donate to Miss Hope's Reading Hour library, if you pay attention to the nice black ticker down here, all of the information that you need is down there if you want to donate to Miss Hope's Reading Hour library. All funds that are collected are used to buy books for Miss Hope's Reading Hour library and for your reading and listening enjoyment. That is what they are used for. So if you want to donate, that is all the information that you need to be able to either donate by Cash App or to send digital gift cards, or let me know if you want to send me some books in the mail. I will take them. I'm telling you, I will take them. All right. Now let us get into the books that we are reading for today. Now, our first book is our book that we are continuing to read from Wednesday because it was so good. So it is The Stinky Cheese Man and Other Fairly Stupid Tales. This book is by John Skeetska and Lane Smith. The Stinky Cheese Man. This is a scholastic book. So we will be reading the rest of this book today. And I was wondering, what book would I read with that really silly one? I was like, I was looking through the books that I still have. I was like, I gotta find something. I don't know. And then I saw this book that I was wondering what I would read it with, what other book I would read it with. And so the other book we are going to read today is called Pigs to the Rescue. Did you know that pigs could rescue you? We will see how they do. I don't know how successful their rescues are going to be looking at this picture on the cover. Pigs to the Rescue. This book is by John Himmelman, and it is also a scholastic book. Pigs to the Rescue. Okay? And we will continue walking with Miss Millie. This book is by Tamara Bundy. Now, last time we read in chapter 19, apparently Alice's dad is coming to Rainbow, Georgia. She has not seen her dad in a long time. We got to see what's going to happen. Is he going to come? Is he not going to come? Will he send something? Will she get to read the letter that her mom got from her dad that her mom did not want her to see? We got to find all of that out. We have to find it all out. So let us begin with, which book should we start with? Should it be Pigs to the Rescue? Or should it be The Stinky Cheese Man and Other Fairly Stupid Tales? I think we'll start with Pigs to the Rescue. That's the one we'll start with. Pigs to the Rescue by John Himmelman, a scholastic book. Let's see how successful these pigs are at rescuing someone. Let's see. On Monday, the tractor broke down. Farmer Greenstalk could not plow his fields. Ooh, that is unfortunate. Oh, these pages. Pigs to the rescue. There they go. Who knew pigs could pitch in so well? Thank you, I think, said Farmer Greenstalk. Ooh, I don't know how helpful that was, but they tried. On Tuesday, Mrs. Greenstalk found a leak in her garden hose. That's no good. As someone who also has a garden, pigs to the rescue! Let's see how helpful this solution is. You really didn't have to do that, said Mrs. Greenstalk. But thanks. So the garden and Mrs. Greenstalk are soaked. See what they do on Wednesday. On Wednesday, Jeffrey Greenstalk got his kite stuck in a tree. You know what's coming. Pigs to the rescue. Weren't expecting that one, were you? Oh boy. Well, you did get it out of the tree, I guess, said Jeffrey. All those pigs standing on top of each other could be kind of dangerous. On Thursday morning, Caleb the rooster had a sore throat and couldn't crow. How are they going to help with this one? Pigs to the rescue! Squeal! Oink, oink. Very loud. Well, they're there to help. We're awake! We're awake! Shouted Farmer Greenstalk. Look at Mrs. Greenstalk. Those pigs must have been pretty loud. On Friday, Emily Greenstalk broke the lace on her shoe. Now, how are they going to help with this? They have hooves. They don't have fingers. Pigs to the rescue. Oh boy. That's a lot of shoelace. That looks like shoelaces and ribbons and rope. Said Emily. I think she was trying to say thank you. On Saturday, Ernie the duck was sad because no one remembered his birthday. Let's see what these pigs do. Pigs to the rescue! Seems like they know how to throw a party. Seems a little rowdy though. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Quack, said Ernie the duck. See where Ernie is? They're still having fun and poor Ernie is floating away with the balloons. On Sunday, Lulu the cat tipped over her saucer of milk. The Greenstalks ran into the room. Shh, they said, don't let the pigs know. Everyone froze and listened. That was close, said Mrs. Greenstalk. Thank goodness the pigs didn't find out about this one. But who is going to help? We got some new helpers. The end. So first it was pigs to the rescue. Now there's cows to the rescue. I wonder what else they're going to help with other than the saucer of the spilled milk. Sometimes when you're trying to help, it can be a little more help than people need. I'm thinking of Emily with the shoelaces. Then she got all tied up. Now we will go on to our next silly book, the continuation of The Stinky Cheese Man and Other Fairly Stupid tales. Our first story in this very silly book is called Chicken Lickin'. Once upon a time, Chicken Lickin' was standing around when a piece of something fell on her head. She wasn't the brightest thing on two legs, so she started running around in circles, clucking. The sky is falling, the sky is falling, we must tell the president. Chicken Lickin' ran into her friend, Ducky Lucky, and clucked, Ducky Lucky, the sky is falling, we must tell the president. Let's go, quacked Ducky Lucky. Chicken Lickin' and Ducky Lucky ran to their friend, Goosey Lucy, and yelled, Goosey Lucy, the sky is falling, we must tell the president. Let's go, honked Goosey Lucy. Chicken Lickin', Ducky Lucky, and Goosey Lucy ran into their friend, Cocky Locky, and yelled, Cocky Locky, the sky is falling, we must tell the president. Let's go, crowed Cocky Locky. Wait a minute, cried Jack the narrator. I forgot the table of contents. Hey, you're not in this story, said Chicken Lickin'. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't show you Chicken Lickin'. That is Chicken Lickin'. Let us continue with the story. I know, said Jack the narrator, but I came to warn you. The table of contents is the sky is falling, clucked Chicken Lickin'. We must tell the president. So Chicken Lickin', Ducky Lucky, Goosey Lucy, and Cocky Locky ignored Jack the narrator and ran off to catch a plane to Washington. Just outside the airport, they met Foxy Loxy. Foxy Loxy, the sky is falling, we must tell the president, yelled Chicken Lickin', Ducky Lucky, Goosey Lucy, and Cocky Locky. Come with me, said Foxy Loxy. I know a shortcut to the airport. Foxy Loxy led Chicken Lickin', Ducky Lucky, Goosey Lucy, and Cocky Locky to his cave. He didn't get to eat them, though, because Chicken Lickin' was almost right. The sky wasn't falling. What was the sky doing? We must find out. The table of contents was, it fell and squashed everybody. The end. Well, something was falling. At least Chicken Lickin' knew. All right, now our next story, Cinder Rumpelstiltskin. Okay, let's see what this one is about. Cinder Rumpelstiltskin. This is going to be interesting. Cinder Rumpelstiltskin, or the girl who really blew it. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful girl named Cinderella who lived with her wicked stepmother and two ugly stepsisters. These step relatives were not only wicked and ugly, they also made Cinderella clean the house every day. One day, the local prince announced that he was holding a fabulous ball at his castle. Everyone was invited. The stepmother and stepsisters all got dressed up to go. But, as usual, they made Cinderella clean the house, so she didn't have time to get ready. After the stepmother and stepsisters left for the ball, Cinderella sat down and began to cry. Just then, a little man appeared. "Please don't cry," he said. "I can help you spin straw into gold." "I don't think that will do me much good," said Cinderella. "I need a fancy dress, glass slippers, and a coach." "Would you like to try to guess my name?" said the clever little man. Cinderella looked at him. "No, not really." "Come on, do you think it's Chester?" "If you don't have a dress, it really doesn't matter." "Oh, just guess my name. Guess a name, any name." "I'm not supposed to talk to strangers," said Cinderella. Then she closed the door and left the little man standing outside screaming, "Rumpelstiltskin! Rumpelstiltskin! Rumpelstiltskin!" When the stepmother and stepsisters got home from the ball, Cinderella told them about the strange little man. They still made her clean the house, and meaner still, they changed her name to Cinder Rumpelstiltskin. The end. Dang. Come on. She was just telling you the story. You didn't have to change your name. Cinderella was nice enough. No need to add the Rumpelstiltskin. Okay. Our next story. The tortoise and the hare. Once upon a time, there was a tortoise who was very slow, but very dependable. He would always get where he set out to go. It just took him longer than most people. One day, Rabbit saw Tortoise walking slowly but surely down the road and said, "Tortoise, you are too slow. I could probably grow hair faster than you run." "Oh, yeah?" said Tortoise slowly. "Yeah," said Rabbit. So they decided to race. On the day of the big race, Tortoise and Rabbit lined up at the starting line. Owl said, "On your mark, get set, grow." Tortoise started to run. Rabbit started to grow his hair. Oh, what is about to happen? What is about to happen? Okay. Tortoise ran. Rabbit grew his hair. 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 Tortoise is still running. Rabbit is still growing his hair. Not the end. Look at that mound of hair. I guess Tortoise is now running over Rabbit's hair. That's a lot of hair. That's a whole lot of hair. A whole lot of hair. Okay, so there's a secret at the end of this book. So it says, oh, wait a minute. No, there's another. Oh, shh. Be very quiet. I moved the end paper up here so the giant would think the book is over. The big lug is finally asleep. Now I can sneak out of here. turn the page very quietly, and that will be it'll be the what? Let's see. I found the wheat. I planted the wheat. I grew the wheat. I harvested the wheat. I ground the wheat. I made the dough. I baked the bread, said the little red hen. Oh, the little red hen is back. And did anyone help me? Did anyone save space for my story? So now, said the little red hen, who thinks they're going to help me? And so now, said the little red hen, who thinks they're going to help me eat the bread? Bread, said the giant. Eat, said the giant. Oh no. Oh no. The end. We gotta end it. Because poor Jack would have possibly been a sandwich. Oh no. Oh no. Take a close look at that picture. Do you see what I see? Those are feathers. Well, unfortunately, the giant had some bread. And the little red hen, too. Oh, you should have just left it alone, little red hen. That was a pretty silly book. Thank you, John Skeetska and Lane Smith, for The Stinky Cheese Man and Other Fairly Stupid Tales. And our other very silly book, Pigs to the Rescue, by John Himmelman, also a Scholastic book. Well, my friends, we have finished with our silly stories for this Fabulous FRI-YAY. And now we got to get back to walking with Miss Millie. So now we don't need our silly ambiance. Now we are to Walking with Miss Millie by Miss Tamara Bundy. This is a Nancy Polson book and imprint of Penguin Readers Group. So let me remove who can remember what this is called? A dust jacket. All right, so we are now on In chapter 19, we found out that Alice's dad sent her mom a letter. And in that letter, we don't know exactly what it said because Alice saw her mom reading the letter. And then when Alice's mom noticed that she was there, she tried to hide it underneath a book. But Alice had already seen she had a letter. And her mom was a little sad. And she didn't know why. So she asked her about it. And she said, it's from your dad. And he says that he's coming to Rainbow, Georgia, of which he does not like the town he grew up in, apparently. And he should be coming in 3 days. And in 3 days, it will be July the 4th, Independence Day. Alice is excited when she goes to see Miss Millie. She tells Miss Millie, but Miss Millie isn't so sure that that's actually going to happen. And not just Miss Millie. Also, Eddie and Alice's mom, Joni, they're not quite sure that it's actually going to happen because her mother said Dad is known for making promises, but not always, you know, living up to the promise. So now we are in chapter 20. We need to find out if he's really going to show up on Independence Day. We want to know more about Miss Millie because apparently Miss Millie has been seeing the doctor and wasn't feeling very well. So that kind of made Alice a little scared because she doesn't want anything to happen to Miss Millie. So we need to find out more about that too. On to chapter 20, Walking with Miss Millie. I woke up earlier than even Mama on the 4th of July. Truth be told, I don't think I slept much at all. Daddy was coming. It'd been so long since I'd even talked to him, which was why I wasn't sure I remembered his voice. About a month before we moved, he called and asked me about school, but he was asking about my from back in 3rd grade. Whenever I'd ask Mama if I could call him, she'd say he was traveling and she didn't have a number for him. We'd spent the day before cleaning. Even though Grandma's house wasn't that big, it took all day to dust and sweep and scrub it. And even though Grandma's house is really old, I sat there that morning, smiling, thinking it looked pretty good. I hoped Daddy would smile when he saw the house and us. After rereading all his letter poems about being happy here, I was sure Daddy couldn't really hate Rainbow. Maybe I didn't hate it as much either. All that mattered, though, was that he remembered how much he loved us so that we'd be together again wherever we lived. I got dressed in my blue shorts and my red shirt, and as soon as Mama got up, I had her put my hair in braids with red, white, and blue ribbons. When I saw myself in the bathroom mirror, I wondered if I was still the spitting image of Daddy. I couldn't wait to find out. As it got closer and closer to the time of the parade, I couldn't stop smiling. My face felt funny with all that happiness holding it together. Sitting on the porch, I was planning on how the day would go. First, we'd go to the parade. Then we'd walk back to Grandma's house where we'd have our picnic. Mama was inside already getting things started, and the smells coming from the house made my tummy rumble. After our picnic, I'd have Daddy go into the backyard with me, just the two of us. Then that's when I'd show him the letter poems I found and the treasures I collected for him. And what would happen next, I couldn't quite imagine, but I knew it would end with more hugs and smiles. Pam came over a little before the parade started. "Where is he? Where's your daddy?" "He's not here yet," I admitted, looking down the street, hoping to see a car that might be his. "He better hurry. The parade starts in a few minutes." Pam saw Eddie inside and opened the door just to go in. I made sure she heard me when I yelled, "Don't worry, he'll make it." But he didn't. When Mama and Eddie and Pam were ready to leave, I told Mama I'd stay and wait for Daddy. But she wasn't hearing it. "No," she told me, "you need to come with us. We won't be far, just right up the street. He'll know where we are if he gets here before it's over." So even though I wasn't with Daddy, I agreed to go to the parade. Of course, calling it a parade might be a bit of an exaggeration. There was the one police car starting things off, followed by a group of adults wearing ribbons across their chest with titles like Mayor and Grand Marshal. After them came what I guessed was the high school marching band. And then there were a bunch of bicycles decorated with red, white, and blue streamers. One boy put playing cards in his bike spokes, trying to make as much noise as the drum beat had before. Finally, there was a fire truck that said Centerville on the side, with some firemen standing on it, waving to the crowd. Turns out Rainbow's so small they had to borrow a fire truck from somewhere else for a parade. Guess they'd have to borrow it for a fire, too. As we watched the parade, I felt the sweat dripping down my back. Everyone always said you'd get used to this heat after a while. But if that's true, I want to know how long a while is. I guess the heat is the only thing Rainbow doesn't do small. While I was feeling like a sticky pile of clothes being held up by a sweaty mound of flesh, I glanced at Mama and wondered if we were even related. How could she look so fresh as a daisy pretty on a sweltering day like today? Lately, I'd been noticing she looked extra nice. And I wasn't the only person who noticed. That dang Mr. O'Brien came over to watch the parade with us, which didn't make me happy at all. What if Daddy came back right then and thought the wrong thing? And the way Mama was giggling at everything the grocer said that wasn't even funny, I could see that Daddy might be right in thinking the wrong thing. As soon as the parade was over, I ran ahead of everyone to get back to Grandma's house. I stopped running when I saw there wasn't an extra car in the driveway. I peeked in the screen door just to make sure he wasn't inside. Maybe he took the train, but the house was quiet. By the time everyone else got back from the parade, I was sitting in the shade on the front porch swing, waiting. Mama looked at me with sad eyes that made me think maybe she was missing Daddy too. I guess not sleeping much the night before, combined with the rocking motion, started to make my eyes flutter shut, and before I knew it, I plumb fell asleep in that rocking chair. The next thing I knew, there was a tap on my shoulder. Maybe I was dreaming about Daddy, because I just knew I'd see him tapping me when I opened my eyes. But it was only Eddie. The disappointment tumbled from my heart to my stomach, and I had to blink a couple of times to focus on what he was signing. Daddy on the phone. That made no sense. Why was he on the phone when he was on his way here? I raced inside to hear Mama arguing with him. I can't believe you are doing this again. No, you tell her. Mama handed the phone to me. Daddy, where are you? Hey, baby girl. How is my beautiful baby girl? How are you, Daddy? You already missed the parade. It wasn't much, but you missed it. When are you coming? The silence on the other end made my heart sink. Daddy, I'm here. Where? Where are you? In Columbus? No, I'm not in Columbus anymore. My heart filled with hope. Well, Daddy, when you get here, I have a surprise for you. I think you're really going to like it. Are you almost here? He cleared his throat. Baby girl, I'm in Las Vegas. Now, I knew that was west of here, far west of here. And I also knew it meant Daddy wasn't coming. Words kept pouring out of the receiver, tumbling straight to the floor. But it was like they were another language. I did hear some words like great city, job opportunity, call you soon. They rattled around my brain, but nothing made sense and my attention began to fade until I heard an odd but familiar coughing in the background on the phone. I hung up on Daddy. Never did that before. Hung up on the same Daddy I'd been waiting to talk to for so long. Mama saw and didn't tell me anything like, "It's rude to hang up without saying goodbye." She just tried to hug me, but I shook loose of her and started walking, one foot in front of the other, until I found myself at the shed. I picked up the old shoebox of letters with the heart and Mama and Daddy's names scribbled inside it. I opened it and saw the letters with the rock from the wishing well, the school flag, the oak leaf, an old picture of the two of them at their prom that Grandma had, and everything else I'd collected. Right then, I did the only thing I could think of. I threw the box back in the shed, not even stopping to worry about everything inside scattering all over the floor. After that, I put one foot in front of the other until I found myself at Miss Millie's. Chapter 21. Miss Millie sat at the picnic table, and beside her sat Miss Frankie working her way through a plate of food. Mama would have said it was horrible manners to barge in when I saw Miss Millie had company, but I couldn't help myself. I stomped over to the picnic table that was full of enough chicken, potato salad, deviled eggs, and chips to feed a lot more than these two ladies. And I plopped myself down. Just like that. I sat down like they were waiting for me, and it was about time I got there. Miss Millie looked over to me and tried to smile, but her smile didn't look too happy. "Glad you're here, Alice girl," she finally said. But I couldn't begin to talk just then, since I had more emotions swirling inside me than Miss Frankie had piles of food on her plate. And that was a lot. Miss Millie cleared her throat. "Miss Frankie, I reckon you remember Miss Alice here." Miss Frankie nodded my way, and I was glad to see she was too busy eating to want to chat now, which was fine with me. I was done talking to people, maybe forever. Miss Millie looked at Miss Frankie and moved her head up and down like she was waiting for something. Miss Frankie shrugged her shoulders. Then Miss Millie cleared her throat again, this time real dramatic like, the way a person does when they really do have something stuck in there. They're just trying to get some, when they don't really have something stuck in there. They're just trying to get someone's attention. She said to Miss Frankie before she turned to me. "Alice girl, I think Miss Frankie owes you an apology." Miss Frankie snorted, stopped her chewing, and wiped her mouth. Finally, in an exaggerated fancy voice, she said, "Miss Alice, I do beg your pardon. When the phone rang a bit ago, I's in the house fetching a fork, 'cause some people don't know how to set a table. Well, I's fetching myself a fork when the phone rang, thinking it was for Miss Millie, and being the thoughtful friend I am, knowing how much older she is than I grabbed that phone. Guess it wasn't for Miss Millie, though. It was for you. It was your papa." So that was it. When Daddy was coughing up excuses, I thought I'd heard actual coughing that sounded like Miss Millie on the other end. So I guess this time it was Miss Frankie doing the listening in on the party line. Miss Millie, who I noticed still hadn't touched her plate, turned back to me. "I'm so sorry your daddy didn't come today. Do you want to go inside and talk? Or maybe we could take Clarence for a walk after dinner. Where is that dog? Can't believe he's not begging for food. Before I could answer, we were interrupted by a boy standing at the open gate yelling, I think he belongs to you, don't he? I don't know if I was more surprised that the boy who was doing the yelling was none other than the younger Mikhail brother, or that he was referring to was Clarence. Clarence, who wasn't moving at all. What did you do to him? I shouted as I ran over to them. I wanted to smack that Mikhail boy, but Clarence took up the entire length of his arms, and I didn't want to accidentally hit the dog instead. So I started pumping my clenched fist in the air, pretending I was hitting that boy and maybe even Daddy, Mama, and everyone in Rainbow, too. Miss Millie, who I guess had had a lot more practice dealing with sadness and disappointment, raised herself from the picnic table and walked over to Clarence. What happened to my dog, young man? The Mikhail boy had the look of a lamb who accidentally wandered into a den full of foxes. I found him up the street. A car. It didn't stop. At that moment, I prayed to the God I hoped wasn't deaf at all. I prayed that Clarence wasn't dead. Hadn't Miss Millie lost enough in this world? The thought of that ornery little dog not running in circles anymore made my eyes start to water too. Would you believe right then and there I knew God could hear just fine since Clarence started to stir in the Mikhail boy's arms? His wrinkled eye peeked open as he let out a low, pathetic growl, like he was telling the Mikhail boy he wasn't as helpless as he looked. Miss Millie took Clarence in her arms, and he yelped. Must have knocked him out, but he seems to be coming to. She moved to the table with all the food and scooted the fried chicken and deviled eggs to the side so she could lay down her little baby. Miss Frankie's eyes grew as big as those deviled eggs at the suggestion of her Independence Day feast being ruined. But even she knew not to interrupt Miss Millie right then. The rest of us stood back and watched as Miss Millie stroked the beat-up tan and white hair of her Clarence and looked for injuries. His tiny circle eyes peeked out from his tan eye patch and watched her every move like he was saying, It's okay, I trust you. I saw her lips moving, but couldn't hear the words she was saying to him as she, ever so gentle, felt around his whole body. When she got to his hind leg, he let out another yelp. I looked over at the Mikhail boy, who stood there with his mouth wide open and his arms stretched out like he was still holding Clarence. Miss Millie pulled out her handkerchief and wrapped it tight around Clarence's hind leg, knotting it with the skill of someone who had done such a thing before. When she was done, Clarence licked her hand like he was saying, Thanks, that's better. Then he must have got a whiff of the feast laid out next to him because he turned his head like someone calling his name, stood up on all but his hind leg, and started to eat a chicken leg. At the sight of the dog eating her feast, Miss Frankie let out a yelp like she'd been hit by a car as well. To keep the peace, Miss Millie moved Clarence with both his sore leg and his chicken leg to the ground. Then she turned to the Mikhail boy. You got a first name, Mr. Mikhail? Yes. Well, do I have to guess what it is, or might you tell me? Miss Millie winked at me as I remembered my similar first encounter with her. I, my name is Jake. Well, Jake, I owe you for saving my dog. Thank you kindly. With those words, she stretched out her hand to shake his. In that moment, fear crept across his face as if he was staring at a poisonous snake about to strike, and not the hand of an old lady. I've heard grown ups talk about time standing still, and I never got it before. But right then, at that moment, when Miss Millie held out her hand to Jake McHale, and he wasn't sure what to do with it, if time didn't stand completely still, it at least slowed down more than a bit. Even Miss Frankie stopped slurping up her food, and I swear Clarence paused from his bone to watch the goings on. At that moment, time might have been remembering to go forward. Miss Millie might have been remembering just who was on the other end of her stretched out hand. I was remembering what I heard about the McHale's daddy being mean and prejudiced, and Miss Frankie saying, "The apple doesn't fall far from the tree," right when Miss Millie might have been thinking all that too. I saw the smile begin to leave her face as she began to lower. But right before her outstretched hand came to rest at her side, Jake McHale reached out his dirt-covered hand and grabbed Miss Millie's hand in his. "You're welcome," he managed to say as he pumped their hands up and down. The smile found its way back to Miss Millie's face, and when the handshake pumping was over, time got back to ticking at a regular speed. "Guess Clarence wandered off through the gate somebody left open." Miss Millie looked directly at Miss Frankie, who had resumed her consuming of the feast. "Whereabouts did you find him?" "Up by the church," Jake answered, not taking his eyes off Clarence. "He kind of was running in circles up the street when a car came by. They screeched their brakes, but hit him hard enough so he couldn't move. Then the car up and left." "And you saved him and brought him back to me. Thank you." Miss Millie was trying to sound all conversational, but she was starting to sound more emotional at the suggestion of Clarence just lying in the street. A blush washed over Jake's freckles, blending them all into one big patch of red splashed across his face. "Well, the least I can do is give you some food for your troubles," Miss Millie offered to the boy, who gulped at the suggestion. From the looks of him, he didn't get a lot of offers to eat. And right then on that holiday, standing beside Miss Millie's picnic table, I was looking at that skinny Jake McHale and thinking about Pam saying how mad their daddy got. And I started wondering what kind of rough life they had. All he seemed to be doing was eyeing the feast on the picnic table. He stammered, "Oh, I couldn't." He looked toward the front gate like he was looking for somebody or some reason. But whatever reasons his head had for saying no, his stomach seemed to overrule them, and his whole body just plain sat down and started eating a drumstick like it was the last drumstick on earth. Miss Millie laughed and handed him a plate, and then she turned to me. "Alice, girl, why don't you join us too?" I really wanted to, but I knew Mama would be looking for me soon to come to our own picnic. So I sat down and decided to just nibble on a handful of chips. I was thinking as I looked around that picnic table, we sure made an interesting 4th of July party. But once everybody started eating, it all seemed kind of natural. But before I could reach for more chips, Miss Millie's picnic was interrupted once again. This time, when someone yelled a word that would get my mouth washed out with soap if I even whispered it. We all turned to the front gate to see the older Mikhail brother, who yelled, "What do you think you're doing sitting there with those people eating their food? Wait till Pa hears about this." Jake turned pale and jumped up from the table so fast he fell. Picking himself up, he ran out of the backyard, not once looking back. After Jake and his brother left, we didn't feel like eating anymore. Except for Miss Frankie, of course. Well, my friends, we will end it there on this Fabulous FRI-YAY. So, Pam was correct. The younger Mikhail was quite a nice young man. And the older Mikhail might be nice too. We still got to get to know him. Thank goodness little Clarence is okay. I wonder what he looks like. Little wrinkly face with one tan eye patch. It's probably a cute little old dog. Well, my friends, I'm so glad that I got to read with you today, read our silly stories, and find out more about the story of walking with Miss Millie. So glad I got to read those stories with you today. Well, we are at the end of our broadcast. Can you believe it? Have a good weekend. Hope that you have a great rest of your fabulous FRI-YAY. I got to find out some words to describe our Saturday and Sunday. Maybe you guys can give me some. Spectacular Saturday. That sounds good. Saturdays are usually pretty spectacular. Got to think of one for Sunday. I don't know. I'll think of one. Maybe you guys can help me. With all of that being said, we are at the end of our broadcast. So glad to be with you all today and read these great stories again. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Have fun. Spend time with your family and your friends. Get out, get some fresh air. From what the weather people say, it's going to be a beautiful weekend. So get out, get some fresh air, get some sun, some good vitamin D, and I will meet you right back here on Marvelous Monday on Miss Hope's Reading Hour. With all of that being said, I will say see you next time.